Good afternoon, on what is a warm, bright and sunny day. It is Wednesday, the 13th of September. I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And an envelope to unbox, which has come all the way from Quakertown, Pennsylvania in the United States. So I don't actually quite know what is in here, but let's find out. It's quite thin. Finger under the glue. And what I'm going to pull out is Infinite March, a game of the Temporal Empire. And there's nothing else in there. This is from Clockfaced Games, published by published following a Kickstarter, and it's a tabletop role-playing game for 3 or more players. One player takes the role of game master and is responsible, etc., etc. It's a game of cosmic horror. Before playing, you should discuss as a group the themes. So, welcome, noble, to the Temporal Empire. The Temporal Empire has always existed, whilst its final and perfected form sits at a point somewhere outside of the boundaries of space and time. Its influence is found throughout history. Imperial nobles existing in power structures from Akkad through to the great powers of the neo-colonialist era and beyond. The goal throughout history to ensure the events leading to the final empire's formation. Through chance of birth into the upper echelons of imperial society, you're a member of the elite caste of the nobility. Entitled by virtue, your innate breeding to the secrets of time travel, you will soon begin your 60-year tour of duty, ensuring the stability of the timeline and throughout history as part of the Infinite March. You've trained for this day for your entire life to this date. Before your early years were spent in education on the liberal arts, as well as the various major languages of the great empires. As a teenager, you spent a grueling 5 years in the academy. Your advanced education complemented with the specific training on the skills required of an elite agent. In your philosophy and civics classes, you learn the importance of upholding the timeline and ensuring the existence of the empire. You are warned of the dangers of rebellion against destiny, the need for conformity, of the patriotism, to devotion, to order, and to the will of the watchmaker. And finally, as you reach the age of majority, with the great day arrives, you are gifted with the technology of time travel. You are trained in its use and in the necessary safety precautions. On the day of your graduation, you are informed of the first assigned location of your duty and the members of your initial team. Your time as a marcher begins. So, quite plain, simple presentation, essentially. You are either an actor, a fighter, a researcher, or engineer, essentially the 4 roles are defined as dice size. So one role is more, that's a 6-sided dice. The others are a 4-sided die, and you can spend points to increase these ratings. So, and then you can add skills as well. So, a player character looks a bit like that. And then we basically quick description of how it works, how the basics, and the nature of failure. Before we get on to Time Travel for Idiots by Gaius Marcus Temporis. And that's actually quite short. It's only just over a page in length. And then, of course, you have Time Travel, the official story. Essentially, this is what you will be told as Marcher agents. We go on to the unwise usage of time travel has the potential for absolute devastation. If the wrong individual were to be killed or deterred from a course of action, the effects on world events would change the entire course of history. To encounter this, Parliament implements the procedure of quarantine, ostensibly enacted only during active missions. Quarantine is the effective removal of a section of time and space from the overall timeline, such that any changes made will have an effect stretching into the future only as far as the quarantine. Basically this means that the marchers, the player characters, have the capacity to go into like a quarantine section and manipulate the timeline in order and make the necessary adjustments before it can be put back into the main timeline. So then we have a guide to how to play that, how to play Quarantine and Distortion. We have the options on how to play, time travel tricks, moving, blinking. Move is basically relocate to a different place in time and space. Blinking is they step out of the current place in space-time, carry out any actions and return again to the exact same spot. And essentially set up by engaging in extreme concentration, the marcher causes their future self to do them a favour by travelling to an earlier time to leave a key in a convenient location, set up a trap, etc. So essentially you can basically go into a situation unaware of what's going on, but be prepared to deal with it, because your future self has seen how you did it and decides to help out. And then we have the anarcho-chronists, or anachronists. Anachronism is the opposing ideology to the imperial ideology. It normally promotes humanity's free will and well-being over all other things, without generally accepting the obvious contradiction within the supposition. And then how to play anachronism. Essentially, these are the rules of free will within the setting. Player characters can have a freedom value, and as you can see here, they actually have two values: order and freedom. So, let's see, order as a marcher there is D12. D4, that order, and then freedom there is D4, and they're going to be opposed, and one will, and essentially they will move closer, presumably to parity, through play and discovering what's going on. We have a guide to play how to handle character advancement, and then we have a section clearly marked the truth, and this will look at things like things are not that simple. It's basically that's the official events you've seen so far up until this page. Beyond, it tells you actually what's going on, and then the nature of the watchmaker, i.e. the controller figure over all of time and space. And the actual true nature of quarantine as well. Quarantine, behind the bullshit of it, or what's going on there. And then we have design notes from the authors, both. So this is a very quick and kind of simple role-playing game that you kind of want to have some kind of commitment to play this, because you're going to be dealing with temporal mechanics and the effects of those. You are really going to have to be sort of basically rolling on them from situation to situation. And there's going to be a lot of improvisation upon both the part of the players and the watchmaker, the game master. Now, I kind of wonder, at the same time, you have an awful lot of freedom to create the settings, create situations, and there's not a lot of guidance in here to that end, so it's sort of a bit bare bones. So the game master needs to be prepared for that as well. But if you are looking for sort of like a quick and dirty temporal war, time war kind of role-playing game, then Infinite March may well be the one you want. When it says it comes to cosmic horror, it's more a nature of chronal cosmic horror, the possibility of changing the universe by doing one thing or another, not necessarily of cosmic horror in the sense that we normally think, which is the H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. Anyway, so yeah, that is Infinite March, a role-playing game of the Time War, published by Clockfaced Games. So, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box, or in this case, an envelope, which I will unbox and talk about the game or book, or in this case, mini role-playing game inside for roughly 10 minutes, to the best of my knowledge. All, of course, accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.